from Reddit. Stories of alien abductees. I was driving home for the weekend from school at Indiana University. It takes me about 2 hours to get home, and I left Bloomington around 10 o'clock p.m. At exactly 10:53, I am on a rural stretch of the 2-lane highway I take home, and I notice what appeared to be flashing lights behind me. I thought, great, I'm getting pulled over. So I turned onto the next country road about a quarter mile from where I noticed the lights. As the car came to a stop and I started to open my glove box to get out my registration and proof of insurance, the lights suddenly vanished and no car drove past. Now here's where the story takes a turn for the weird, and I'm sure you guys will think I'm just making it all up because it really does seem like something straight out of a typical UFO movie or story. The electronics in my car started to go haywire. The radio was randomly changing stations while the volume kept going up and down, while the dome light and headlights start to flicker and turn off and back on. This was at 10:56. I start to think to myself that my battery must be failing, or else I have a short somewhere in the electric system of my car. So I lean down to pop the hood so I can take a look at the battery, and that's the last thing I remember doing. The next thing I know, I open my eyes and see nothing but the night sky full of bright stars. It was a cold night, and it seemed like I'd never seen the stars so bright in my life. I sat up and looked around and saw absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. I was in the middle of a field, surrounded by corn stalks left over from the recent harvest. As I started to come to my senses, I started to freak out. Where am I? Why the fuck am I asleep in the middle of a field? Where the fuck's my car? I got up and started walking toward the distant headlights I could see from a road about half a mile away. When I got to the intersection, I looked at the signs which read 350 North and 50 West. I was a half a mile away from my car, which was just right off the main road. I started walking toward the headlights and I could see the main road. I can't say how long it took me to walk the half mile, but it couldn't have been more than 10 or 15 minutes. When I arrived at my car, all of the lights were out and the battery had died. This struck me as odd because I couldn't have been gone for that long. I looked at my phone, which was sitting on the passenger seat, and the time was 2:17 a.m. Over 3 hours had passed since I turned off onto the side road for the flashing lights behind me. I remember sitting in my car completely dumbfounded, wondering what the hell had just happened to me. After about a half hour of just sitting there, I remembered that my battery was dead. So I got on my phone and called AAA to come out and give me a jump. It took about an hour for them to get to me since I was a good distance from the nearest town, during which time I just sat in silence, running through the possible scenarios in my head concerning what had just happened. To this day, I couldn't tell you what really happened to me that night. All I know is that I can't think of any plausible explanation as to why I woke up over a half a mile from my car in the middle of a cornfield more than just 3 hours before I had stopped. I've only shared this story with one other person, my uncle. I'm sure people would look at me like I'm crazy or call bullshit on the whole story, and I can't blame them. If somebody came to me with a story like that so closely mirrors the stereotypical encounter, I probably wouldn't believe them either.
Pretty